the banner, please. So any of the federal candidates who we have been in contact with and have been asked to speak, can you please come over here? Thank you so much. All right. The provincial government of Newfoundland and Labrador has a secret and they don't want you to know, but we will not stand for that. Government has been working in secret for the past 10 months to develop a garbage burning plant in Lewisport. Shane is right. They plan to import garbage from Europe to burn on the island of Newfoundland and Labrador. We will ask the government question after question about this development, and we will not back down. You wronged us when you did not act in the 1950s, when precise measurements of CO2 confirmed its rise in the atmosphere and its potential to create environmental harm. You wronged us when you did not act in the 80s, when we saw the first sharp rises in global temperature. You wronged us in the late 80s and early 90s, when our provincial government saw the human damage that caused the environmental catastrophe that led to the collapse of our cod stocks. You wronged us when you did not act in 1990 when a UN report warned against a temperature rise of 2 degrees within 35 years. You wronged us when you did not act in 2001 when NASA showed you satellite image of glaciers shrinking. You wronged us when you did not act in 2008 when the link between climate change and refugees became apparent. You wronged us when you did not act in 2010 when disasters like the BP Deepwater Horizon oil spills were regularly happening. You wronged us in 2016 by not committing to the Paris Agreement. You wronged us a year ago when you did not act to Greta Thunberg's beginning of the movement and her striking. And you wronged us last year when we stood here on 3 separate occasions and got no action. Do not wrong us again with platitudes. This time, take real action, or remember, we will not forgive you. Adults, you have had 50 years to take responsibility for your lack of action. You have known and you have ignored. We will not allow you to continue to wrong us. In the words of Greta Thunberg, the eyes of the future generation are upon you. We should not be forced to choose to skip classes and work to fight about our future. This is not fair. We should not have to fight. We don't want to fight for our future, but you have given us no choice. Now, more than ever, we need political representatives who represent us and our values and not corporations. We need you to vote for candidates. We need you to vote. 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 We need you to vote for candidates who will make meaningful change to the climate crisis we are facing. We must demand change. We must ask the hard questions, and we must pay closer attention than ever before. We are finished forgiving. I'm 15 years old and I cannot vote, but there is much that I can and will do. I ask for you all to do it with me and all the young people who are here protesting today. So, will we continue to engage with politics and institutions? Yes, we will! Will we ensure that we elect representatives and a government that promises direct action? Yes, we will! Will we continue to watch them and their decisions closely? Yes, we will! Will we continue to call them out when they are actively harming our home or ignoring the harm being done unto it by others? Yes, we will! Will we continue to ask the hard questions about the oil and gas industry and Newfoundland and Labrador's reliance upon it? Yes, we will! to Ottawa. We don't want words, we don't want platitudes, we want promises that you will keep. So, to begin with our political addresses, we ask Jack Harris from the NDP, who's running in St. John's East, to give a quick address with his promises.
Thank you, Alice. And I want to first of all thank you, not only the young people here in Newfoundland and Labrador, but young people all over the world who have done this to make attention, draw attention and force a reconciliation and an encounter with government officials to make sure that they do listen. And thank you for the leadership that you've shown here today and the thousands of people that you've brought along with you. So that's something that's very important. You know, we have a government that, when they got into office 4 years ago, adopted Harper's climate goals and hasn't even put in place policies to keep them. So we're not happy with that. I want to assure you that the New Democratic Party is fully committed to the 1.5 degree limit on the growth in our world temperature. That has to happen, and we have aggressive policies in place that are going to ensure that we get there. And there's lots of stuff in our platform that underscores that. But I want to assure you of this, that we, along with you, demand that we must have climate justice. We must have also a just transition to a carbon-free economy. You know, we want to make a just transition, but we want to ensure that people are not harmed by this transition, and that has to be an important part of the platform. But we also want social justice. We need to ensure that we have a greater move to equality in this country, and we've always stood for that, and we always will. But I also want to assure you of this, that we can actually do this together, but we can't do it without you. And so don't give up. What you're doing is right. It needs the support of everybody, and don't give up, because if you do give up, it won't happen. But it can be done, and we can do it together. Thank you.
Greg Malone.
This mic? Thank you. Well, I am here because of you. I was waiting for someone younger and someone smarter, but no, that's not good enough. Everyone, old and young, has to do absolutely everything they can to combat the climate crisis. That's the bottom line. So that's why I decided to run for the Green Party with Elizabeth May, because the Green Party puts the climate crisis at the top of their agenda. That's it. You know that is the #1 issue for Greens globally, worldwide. And the Green Party gets it. And the Green Party does not take corporate money. They don't take corporate money, so they are free to act on the climate crisis. You know, and I know, with every cell of our body, that this is the time to act. We know that. We've left it too long already. We were trying to keep the temperature below 1.5. We're not going to do that. It's going to go up to 1.5. But it cannot go up to 2 degrees, because that is climate chaos. The Greens have a plan for that in nationally, provincially, globally. The Greens have a plan to transition from the fossil fuel economy to a renewable, sustainable, green economy. That's where we have to go. That's where we have to go. There's only one future if you're a human being, for God's sake. It's a green future. This is the most important election of our lives. Now you have the power, you can vote to send the strongest possible message to Ottawa that you want the strongest, clearest action on climate change. Vote green. They get it. That's the vote for climate action change, green. That's why I'm here. Thank you.
All right. I would like to say, before we continue with this, that the goal of this is to listen attentively. We cannot make progress if we refuse to listen to people. So just please keep that in mind. That's like a very important part of moving forward with this super important movement. Next, we have the incumbent for St. John's East, the Liberal representative, Nick Whalen.
Thank you, Alice. Just to make a quick correction, our party brought in the 1.5 degrees by signing the Paris Accord. Our party brought in a price on pollution, so pollution won't be free. I have fought my whole life since 1990 when the first accord came out to say about the 2-degree rise and what would happen. And here we are now with a party that has fought for you for 4 years and done so much. 44 new measures. What are we doing in the future? We're going to renovate 1.5 million houses. We are committed to net zero by 2050. We are committed to protecting 30% of our oceans and 30% of our land. We have a plan that is going to work, and we're going to get there, but only together. Think of a rope and people pulling. If 2 pull on one side and 3 pull on the other, it only goes a little. All 5 have to pull on the same side for this to work. We need to hitch our plan, that rope to climate change and pull. The choice is clear. If you don't vote Liberal in this election, you will not get the change you want. Vote for us. Help us achieve this. Push us, but push with us.
All right. Next, we have Anne-Marie Annenson, who is the representative for the NDP in St. John South. Thank you.
So this is all very overwhelming, I have to say. In 1968, I was on my first march ever, and I was protesting then because they were dropping and detonating atomic bombs in the Pacific Ocean. So we all went down to the United States consulate and protested down there on Forest Road. So, you know, it doesn't take much to do the math. 50 years later, I'm asking my 35-year-old son, what's a big issue for him? And he's saying, the Amazon fires. Like, we didn't have enough of a voice, but you do. You have such a powerful voice. The major problem in our party, and not in our party, in our country, is that it has always been about maximizing corporate wealth. We don't care about corporate wealth. We are not a corporation. We are for the people of our country and our province and our city. When I was a councillor in Pouch Cove, we couldn't drink the water because it was brown. This was water that was put in for us and cost Pouch Cove a lot of money. We couldn't drink it. I have had a long time fighting, but now it's time for me to sit down in the House of Parliament and start making some new laws. Laws that make it illegal, that will be accountable, which will be monitored, which will be watched for, so that if you become a polluter, when you are the cause, when you're the upstream of the problem, you will be very seriously sanctioned for that. It's an emergency now. We have to do it now. I've been waiting 50 years for all of this to happen. And so thank you. Join the new Democratic Party for Youth, and we will make it happen. We do stand a chance.
Thank you. Next up, we have the Conservative candidate from St. John South, Jerry Martin.
Allison, first of all, I want to thank all of you for coming here, and it's Terry Martin, not Jerry. She had it wrong again. I of us here protesting like you guys 40 years ago. We had a very, very bad tragedy when I was living in Residency University, and we had this many people that we protested, and we had the Skywalks built. I know for a fact that when we work together, there's a lot of things that we can get done. I don't even think that all the solutions have even been found yet, and I think a lot of it is going to come from you guys. I am very lucky because I am not a politician. I've been working in the nonprofit sector for 25 years. I think working collectively, we're going to be able to find the answers. I know that a lot of things that are directly in front of us that we need to start reducing ourselves. Like, there's so many things that we can do, but we have to listen first. It's the first time in our lives that all of us of all different ages are on the same page and we're pulling on the same oar. The Conservative government understands it, and we will get there.
All right, thank you. We now invite to the stage Lena Bovell, a representative from the NDP party. It doesn't come off. Good to know. We're not here for politics as usual. We are here because a small number of powerful moneyed interests protect and perpetuate a broken system for their own fleeting financial gain. A broken system that feeds on our labor, that breaks our backs and our spirits, fractures our communities, and threatens the viability of our habitat. We are here because if we leave in power those who got us here and those who benefit, we will not survive. We must raise our voices in places they were never meant to be, among people, comfortable, powerful people who would rather not hear them. We must remind them of the social and the human cost of their wealth. Canada is warming at 2 times the global rate, and northern communities will bear this burden first and most deeply. Around the world, ordinary working people continue to suffer and die while the rich protect themselves for as long as their money will allow them. This will continue to happen unless we stop them. We need to take away their power like they've taken away our hope and our optimism. I am running for the same reason I vote, as a means of harm reduction. Look around you at all the young people willing to fight for change. We can put ourselves into power. When I say power back, you say land back. Power back. Land back. Power back. Land back.
Okay, really quickly, Seamus O'Regan, we are not sure if you're here and speaking, so if you are, please come up. Next we have a representative from the Green Party, David Peters.
Thank you very much, Alice. What a wonderful sight this is to see today in St. John's. Thank you for coming out. Thank you. You guys can go on greenparty.ca and get the full platform. I'll give you one little tidbit that I think you'll be happy with. We propose in the platform a green government of Canada would ban the sale of internal combustion engines by 2030 in this country. Is that a good idea? Can we do that? I want to thank the organizers and thank you for coming. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. This is not a campaign speech per se, because this is a protest about climate change. It's a nonpartisan issue. It's a nonpartisan issue. We've heard them all. We've heard them all, right? Oil will be around for decades to come. So many of our consumer products are made from plastic, so you should feel guilty, right? It's unreasonable to expect that we should leave it in the ground. You've heard that, haven't you?
Shame!
As if we're passive pawns, as if that's the only possible outcome, as if that's preordained. It's not preordained. What they tell you in an intimidating fashion is to wait. Climate change is important to the liberals and conservatives, but we have to wait. A lot of you are probably too young to remember. Some of you heard about him in high school history. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King heard a lot of times from white legislators in the South in the 1960s, wait, when he was advocating for civil rights for African American people that they were long denied. Yeah? And what Martin Luther King said, you ought to say, what we're saying is when they say wait, it usually means never. Yeah? Time for waiting's over, people. The Green Party has a plan to get us to net 60% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions by 2030, not 45. On October 21st. Vote green. Thank you.
Next, we have our incumbent from St. John South, the Liberal Seamus O'Regan.
A price on pollution, a climate action rebate, a ban on single-use plastics, tax-free loans for home retrofits, net zero for Canada by 2050, investment in clean tech business, more public transit, protecting more of our environment, 25% of our land and our ocean, electric vehicle subsidies, e-vehicle charging networks throughout our province, clean fuel standards, money for clean energy projects. I did not come here to talk to you. I came here to listen to you. And I want to keep listening, and I want you to stay passionate, and I want you to demand more from all of us. And let's not wait any longer. Demand action now. Thank you.
All right, thank you to all of our politicians for speaking here today. We are now going to do an activity, so I want to get everyone to take out their cell phones. All right? So, we're going to write an email. Yeah, we're going to write a really short email to Premier Dwight Ball. So get out your phones. And in the so his email address is Premier, so Premier, at gov.nl.ca. So that's Premier at gov.nl.ca. So you can take your liberty in writing what you want, but we do have a model here written up, so if you want to listen to that. So we have, Dear Premier Dwight Ball. Okay. The subject, hashtag Fridays for Future, hashtag Climate Strike, hashtag We Want Climate Action, you choose. Climate action now! Climate action now! Okay. So I am writing to you from the Fridays for Future. The address, Premier at gov.nl.ca. All right, so I am writing to you from the Fridays for Future movement. The province of Newfoundland and Labrador is not doing enough as a province to combat climate change. I'll repeat that. I am writing to you from the Fridays for Future movement. The province of Newfoundland and Labrador is not doing enough to combat climate change. Today, we ask you to take a step forward. So Today, we ask you to take a step forward. Please declare a climate emergency. Please acknowledge the situation so we can have hope for our future and our province. All right? That's good. All right. Read it out again. I am reading to you from the Fridays for Future movement. The province of Newfoundland and Labrador is not doing enough to combat climate change. Today, we ask you to take a step forward. Please declare a climate emergency. Please acknowledge the situation so we can have hope for our future and our province. All right. He just released a song for Climate Strike Action Week called Only World, and we got a group of students from Mon Music to sing it. So just let us take a few moments to get that set up.
Okay, move it a little closer.
Hey, where's Sophie? Where's Clarence? Where is Clarence? Holy shit, look at everybody. This is crazy. I know. I really like the tiny piece. It's okay. I got it right here. Oh, this is too tall. Where's Claire? You're too short. So would it be like one of us voting no? The world, what? The only world. Okay. And then when people sing the... Where's Claire? I have it here. Yep. I don't know the pitches. If you're, yeah, you're just doing the chorus, or like, it's the only
What do we want?
She was gloriously beautiful, yet devastatingly cruel. She conceived life as well as death. Her magnitude and power were unmatched by all that surrounded her. She was rare and extraordinary compared to others like her. She was elegant and natural, but was ultimately transformed to be inorganic and lifeless. She was our home, where an abundance of different organisms thrived, learned, played, and battled. Creating equality for all with strength, we evolved together in her beauty. Over time, we helped shape her, for better or for worse. Carving out her body, we removed roots of her children with our big machinery and replaced them with large factories. Robbing her bloodstream, we emptied her oceans and rivers through our pollution and overconsumption. Slaughtering her children, we butchered our fellow animals for all our personal profit. Clogging her lungs, we turned the air to a monstrous cloud of chemicals. While we may not be the cause of her demise, we definitely had an impact. We were her children. These places were our homes, and we let her die. As her children, we should have fertilized her gifts so that they could prosper. Yet, we claimed what she gave us for profit. She was a good mother. She gave us everything we needed, but we were unruly and disobedient. We took her and all that she gave us for granted, and now she is gone. Thank you, Earth, for the captivating beauty that you showed us, for the home you provided us, bountiful and all wondrous aspects. You taught us lessons of gracious kindness and lessons of strong resilience. I will never forget her. You must never forget her. So we say farewell, Earth. We miss you dearly. Sincerely, humankind. Oh, yes. We will now be taking a moment of silence to mourn our Earth.
People gonna rise like the water, gonna shut this system down. In
the name of my great-granddaughter, climate justice now. People gonna rise like the water, gonna shut this system down. In the name of my great-granddaughter, climate justice. Everybody! People gonna rise like the water, gonna shut this system down. In the name of my great-granddaughter, climate justice now. People gonna rise like the water, gonna shut this system down. In the name of a great-granddaughter, climate justice now. Everybody! People gonna rise like the water, gonna shut this system down. In the name of my great-granddaughter, climate justice now. People gonna rise like the water, gonna shut this system down. In the
But, and I was the third youngest in a, in a big family. I keep telling this, growing up with five brothers in the room with you.
Right, right.
It was an interesting time, so.
Strategies going on here. Oh, look at this, rolling the bacon around the scallop.
Yeah.
Nice. So I know that you were involved in sports as well, and as well as you, Minister. So you're both hockey. I noticed that you're would you coach minor hockey?
A little bit of coaching, but more on the administrative side. I knew my NHL career was over by roughly grade 4. I figured that part out. Good beer league goalie. But my professional aspirations died an early death. Unlike the chief, who actually was a pretty good athlete, I was joking with him earlier.
Yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame.
He's an actual athlete. He's in a friggin' Hall of Fame. I was in a Hall of Fame once as a guest. I went in and looked around. I joked that I got the height in the family. I got the height, but my two brothers got all the skill.
Oh.
So it was unfortunate, but...
so who's your hockey team? Who do you root for?
Oh, I'm a Habs guy.
You're a Habs guy?
I'm a Habs guy.
And Chief Owen, who do you root for?
Anybody but the Habs.
Cheers for the Russians.
Okay, so just so you know, I'm a...
And it is through this collective action that we see today at this strike, we can transform our institutions, our government, and our world, and that is how we are going to beat climate change. Thank you.
Vote for future! 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 Woo! Who here feels empowered right now?
The fighting Newfoundlanders live!
Today and every day, we promise to fight our governments, we promise to ask questions and demand explanations for our future. All right, so we have a few thank yous to do, and then we'll do a couple more chants, and then we did it.
So, we would like to thank Lee Tizard for setting up the sound equipment, for providing us with sound for this awesome event. So give him a round of applause. We'd like to thank St. Michael's Print Shop for donating their space to provide an area and location for our pop-up art poster making sessions. So thank you them. We would like to thank Sheila Keats, our ASL interpreter. Thank you so much, Sheila. And we'd like to thank you guys. Thank you for organizing yourselves to come out here today. Thank you for mobilizing and showing up.
We thank you, but we also ask you. Today, you organize yourselves to come out. Next time, organize yourselves and 5 other people. Bring them here. We are so excited to tell you guys that the next strike is going to be happening on Friday, November 1st. We will be here and we will be loud. What do we want? What do we
Somewhere. I spotted you down there, I think. So this family, I think, gin and tonic. My needs gin and tonic.
Oh, there you are. I was thinking he looks familiar.
Yeah.
Ashley.
Sorry about that.
I'm looking for Greg. Well, that's what I don't know. If he is this, I don't find him.
It's good to see you. Still excited. And our daughter's in there a lot.
I gotta eat it at the
See,
end.
the chief is, I'm just cooking a couple here because I wanted to present well. The chief is actually cooking like a full meal over here.
He's going to feed the crew.
I think it was pretty obvious that, you know, you look at the size of my dish, family I came from, look at his dish, privileged family.
You know, Joe's cooking for a force, and I was putting it on for the show there, right? He was going with the solid white tray of, scallops, and I wanted to make mine look professional, right? I try to look professional.
So, Joe, you got a big family, as we already talked about earlier, lots of brothers and sisters, and they were really into softball. I know you're in the Sports Hall of Fame for softball?
Yes.
Yeah. So what position did you play?
So I was a catcher, my brother was a pitcher. And,
which brother was that, Kevin?
Ronnie.
Ronnie,
yeah. And my older brother, Jerry, he actually coached us back in the day and started the softball program in Outer Cove. And what a lot of people don't realize, back then, everybody in the community played.
Yeah.
So you think we had a softball league in Outer Cove itself. So we had a women's league, a men's league, junior ball team, and So a lot of good ball players came out of that community. you know.
Yes, and Torbay was the same. We had a lot of, and because I
Exactly.
remember the Labor Day weekend tournaments where they'd be coming down to Otter Cove and Flower Rock, and of course they had the Maynards down there that were really quite good players as well.
Right, yep.
And I remember even the Placentia crowd coming up with the Davises and it was,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
We're getting into the fun
See,
times
do
now.
we still, like I'm so far away removed from that kind of stuff these days because I don't have any kids of my own, so I don't tend to go to sporting things. Does that still exist? Stuff like that?
I don't think it's interesting, Brenda, because when I think about growing up in childhood, I don't ever remember being bored or any of that stuff. And we just all went out and played. It was, sport was meant to be fun. There was no stress to it until you played the Davises from Placentia, then it got a bit stressful, but there was no stress to this. And I think about kids today, they can't go and organize it themselves. They had their parents and whatnot, and it seems like there's as much stress on a ball field or in a hockey rink or at a dance studio than there is in the classroom or in
Yeah,
other parts of the world.
sports is a big part of the community, and of course, if there was, more organized sports, it keeps the community together, right?
Yeah, exactly. And,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
everybody got involved. Like, you came down and you helped organize, clean up the field. Minister, you're lagging behind here a bit.
Yeah.
No, 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 no.
There's some toothpicks in there.
Aha.
Yeah, so this is fantastic. This is free help, but
Yeah, yeah. Is this bottom one here
that's the back one.
that's the back one, is it? Okay, perfect.
No, it's the front one, sorry.
Oh, there we go.
The other one. There you go. Those Roman butter kisses are giving you some work.
It's not what I thought, but you never know. I might be able to pull
That's
something
just
out of this.
caramelized. That's perfect.
It's the story of my life. I try something, it doesn't work, but you never know. Sometimes there's a buttery lining after that works out well.
There is butter here. I keep suggesting the butter.
I noticed that.
Well, Chief is getting ready to put his together over there on his plate. It looks fantastic. So, do you ever aspire to be the premier?
I can honestly say it's not something that I've ever given much thought to. I guess I never aspired to be this much. It's just one of those things that wasn't what you thought
Right.
you were going to do, even growing up in that type of household. Once you get into it, people mention it. It's hard to tell. Someday maybe that's in the cards, but be honest with you, I find it really challenging as it is. I got very young kids at home, and I still live on the West Coast, so it's a lot of commuting.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot
and
of travel.
so I miss a lot as it is. I had no idea I was going to ever end up in this job, right? I'm happy to be here. If that time were to come someday, we'll think about it, but I'm just I'm having fun.
Like, does anybody think that he doesn't want to be premier? Like, really? Seriously? If I was Premier Ball, I'd be looking over my shoulder.
We got 5 minutes left. Years ago, a young lady used to work for me from Rose Blanche, and I've always wanted to go, and I haven't quite got down that part of the island yet.
We're going to have to remedy.
Yes,
We're going to have
yes,
to remedy
absolutely. Looking pretty good over there. Look, he's bacon wrapping the scallops. I think he's cooking.
Is this something that you actually do?
I'm not sure if there's any other way to do it, but his are looking good over there. He's got the
It's
savory on it
really
as well.
actually a unique method of doing it. He cooked the bacon first and then rolled it. A lot of times the scallops get overcooked because you're trying to cook the bacon, and you wrap the bacon and scallop at the beginning. And see, you could have been a chef because that's what we do in the restaurant. We cook the bacon first and
is
then
that right?
roll the scallop so that the scallop doesn't overcook.
Oh.
There you go. I don't know. You got some
I knew that.
competition over there, I think.
I still think the chief is a big bluff. I was pointing out to you,
That's my wife.
There's not much that he's ever done that he hasn't been successful in. So I think that would apply to cooking as well.
I think I'm getting set up here.
We got 3 minutes left now. Look, these fellas are really whipping through this, I must say. Looks good. It's going to come down to taste, I think. I've seen you both use all your ingredients.
Hand sick now.
Oh,
Now I did.
no.
Now I did.
Oh.
I was going to say,
Oh,
Chief, you got
hang
any
on now.
papers?
Okay.
I'm allowed to say this because, you know, I've said it on the newspaper once, you know, I may have seen marijuana once or twice in my life. Who knows, maybe the chief had papers on him, right? Maybe he confiscated some.
Soon everybody will have them in their house, right? So what's going to happen with cannabis products for cooking in restaurants? And like we're thinking about making it a beer using, because we want to stay trendy and on trend. And so is there going to be regulations and rules about cooking with cannabis products?
So first of all, you asked the question before and I kind of sidetracked it with my cooking display, but so with cannabis, I've kind of changed my position. I was dead set against it in the beginning, but I think, you know, the reality is cannabis is in our communities, it's all over our communities, and so, you know, the federal government brought it in, so there'll be, for policing, there'll be money for training for our members, there's going to be, you know, for health, I think about health, all the education stuff that's going to come out for people that consume, and I think that this is going to grow. I think this is the first wave of it, and I think you're going to see, like you just said, you know, it will be regards to beer and whatnot, but I see this as a good thing. I think it's in our community, and I don't think it should be criminalized. Like, I'll say that right now, there's enough pressures on our criminal system without having to put people, you know, for cannabis especially in jails, or I don't think that's the right idea, so.
I think it's, you know, look, we all know it's going to be, you know, legalized on the 17th, and I think it's just going to be an evolution. The first part is getting through the actual practical realities that it's here, and it's going to evolve from there. It's going to be in different products. We got to get the mindset. That's the first challenge, is the mindset. But we're going to be living in a world where it's infused into our cooking, into our lifestyles.
Well, I can see an opportunity for like cannabis butter and all kinds of things. Like, you know, I'm thinking of it as food because I'm like, is there an opportunity for this down the road, right?
It's going to be interesting. I mean, it's one of the biggest things I've ever seen in terms of public policy, and just thinking about the practical effects and how it's going to work. And it really does affect everybody, whether you use or don't use. It has an effect in some way, so it's going to be interesting times.
We got 1 minute, like, but you know, these guys don't need the minute.
I think the chief is looking good over there.
You know, you both were very nervous at the beginning, thinking you were going to pull this off, and look, you've created a dish.
There's a lot of pressure.
So
I got a feeling his look better. His look tastier. His actually look like a meal. I'm trying to pretend on the shows that I've actually watched with my wife, and I don't know what's there. I don't even know if it's edible. Anything that worked out right there was a complete miracle.
Okay, so Scoff Off is ended. When we come back, we're going to try these dishes and see who comes out the winner. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Scoff Off. Well, that was a lot of fun. And you both actually are good cooks.
Well, you haven't eaten yet.
and the chief said he couldn't cook, and it was
And I was right all along. I said the chief was a huge bluff. And look at it. That looks really yummy. It looks good.
So the plates look totally different, right?
Yes.
You can tell that he's, no offense, younger.
Okay.
And not from such a big family.
Right, exactly.
I know this is how we cook now in our family, because I'm from a fairly big family too.
Right.
And I still cook like I'm cooking for
Yeah, exactly, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
This is what you're used to. So I'm going to give this a whirl now. You didn't get your rum and butter kiss in there.
No,
you had trouble with that.
I did have some trouble with that. I did a little drizzling of the maple syrup to see how it would pan out there. I have no idea what this is going to come out like.
So I know you got your savory in here as a garnish. It's really good.
Really?
Good.
Mm-hmm.
You're just saying that for TV.
No, it's really good. But you know, it's maple syrup and bacon.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're giving us ingredients that is really hard to pull off.
I didn't set you up for failure, right? Okay, here we go.
Here we go. Pressure.
So we'll give it a try and see what it's like. But I do notice that, like, once he saw you bake wrapping, he was copying. Did you notice that?
Yeah, but see, he pulled off the kisses way better.
And he did have the savory in your scallops when you were sauteing them. The scallops are cooked perfect too.
Nice.
This is a hard decision. So far, I haven't had too many hard decisions. This one's a hard decision. Okay, so based on the use of basket ingredients and of course the plate presentation and the taste, today's winner is Minister Parsons.
Good job. Excellent.
Both dishes were great, but Minister Parsons' scallops were tender and juicy. Came down to taste, so Minister Parsons wins. Well, thank you both for coming and being part of this little show, Scarf Off. I've got a gift for you both. It's a Scarf Off apron.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's a nice
Thank you.
souvenir for you.
Great. Thank you, Brenda.
Right? It's fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for participating.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, that's it for this episode of Scarf Off. See you soon.
Congratulations to me.
Congratulations. It's nice that you had it set up.
Well, you know, this. Let's just say I made a few phone calls before I got here. I don't walk in anywhere.
I feel. Oh, now we're telling the truth.
In your defense, you actually did cook a nice meal.
I cooked enough.
Geez, you could have had half the force down here and eat what you had there. Let's be honest here. If it's got bacon and if it's got maple syrup, it's hard to frig that up.
I thought you were going to go with a bacon joke with police, but
no.
You would never do that.
You carry a gun, sir. So, Chief, what's the chances of us getting the rest of that savory off Brenda?
Well, I tell you, Brenda haven't gotten it. We got some up there.
Nice.
Quality and convenience, there isn't much you won't find at Marie's Mini Mart. Home-style breads, sandwiches, plus a variety of artisan breads and delicious single-serve desserts available exclusively at our Frecker Drive location. Marie's Mini Mart, with 25 locations wherever you go, there we are.
Yellow Belly food means fresh food. We source our ingredients locally and prepare them from scratch. Our meat is never frozen. Food's so delicious, we've got good times cornered. Yellow Belly Brewery, a proud sponsor of One Chef, One Critic.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
It's getting so cold.
You have become close to Abigail. She is a viper.
I'm getting super evil vibes.
I don't get it.
I'm trapped in a romantic comedy.
5,000 baptized.
I think somebody turned on the waves.
My mother said we had to leave home. The communists were going to take my father away. If my parents were afraid, they didn't show us. But we would never forget our escape from Vietnam. We were lost.
What was your job in Vietnam?
University professor.
We had no home.
Do you have any family in Canada?
No, sir.
Nobody wanted us.
Welcome to Canada.
Canada chose us.
Canadians opened their borders, their homes, and their hearts to more than 100,000 refugees fleeing persecution after the Vietnam War.
We were home.
Envisioned in his head that would have contributed to the revitalization of Burin, I mean, which is what I'm trying to do as well. I'm not as hands-on and I won't be able to do it as big as he obviously did, but we all got a piece of him. I mean, he was quite the visionary. I mean, everything was rolling through his head. I mean, for him to think this is all straight out of his idea. He didn't execute anything, but he paid people to do exactly what he wanted, and this is the makings of it, anyways. I mean, he kept pushing the opening date further and further, I mean, as he took on more work and more work, but, I mean, we're gonna try to get something going here.
Hi, my name is Lisa Walsh, and I'm a skincare manufacturer. My hometown is Bay de Verde, which is where we are right now. I started out as a hairdresser when I was 18, and I love the beauty industry. I've always wanted to be in that industry since I was 12. I've been making tinctures and infusions since I was like 7 or 8 years old with my grandmother and my Aunt Sheila. And as I progressed through the beauty industry, I became very allergic to the aromas of the chemical. So I decided to make my own product and make a change for my life and my company. And so I shut down my salons and I did some research on becoming a manufacturer, skincare manufacturer, and that's what I do right now with chemical-free ingredients. Hi Edie, it's Lisa. Cynthia gave me your number. I just wanted to touch base with you about the Wishes and Dream Cream from Indigena. I'm here now with, we're doing our plan for the year, and I'm trying to get this ready for your gala.
My name is Judith Bobbitt, and the company is called Oceans Limited. Well, I created the company about 37 years ago. Basically, I'm a physical oceanographer, and I'm a very independent person. So I wanted to be able to plan my own types of research, and the best way of doing that was to create a private company. And so right away I hired a couple of people to help me with sea work, and we started working for the oil industry. That way back in early 1980s. Well, I went to school at Sir George Williams, done an honours physics degree, and then I went to McGill. I didn't plan on going to McGill. I tried to go to UBC. I had to go into oceanography, but they wouldn't take me because they said I was female and couldn't work at sea. So I wasn't allowed to go there, so I had to go the back door route. So I went into McGill under ice physics and then got transferred over to the Marine Science Center. So I did oceanography and I did ice physics and I did meteorology at McGill. So I did it in 3 different disciplines. I was there for a few years doing that. But it paid off in the long run because now I had this multidisciplinary training. So when I started my own business, we do weather forecasting, we do oceanography, we measure icebergs, and we do biomonitoring. I also, when I was at McGill, because I was in Marine Science Center, I had to do fish biology and everything because our chairman said if you worked in the ocean, you had to know everything, which was good planning. At least it worked for me. This is our iceberg sonar that we made. It's a new sonar for measuring icebergs. That you lower it down from a ship, you just let it lower, and it just measures the depth of the iceberg, but we go around the berg so you get shape too.
My name's David Primer. I currently own and operate 2 panizzas with a 3rd one under construction. I own the 5th Ticket on Water Street, which is a restaurant and piano bar, and I'm involved on a corporate level with Panizza too, with a small ownership stake in the overall franchise. It started off with a little lottery win back in 2014. Basically, I was working at United Rentals. Had a sales team there that we played into the lottery pool every week, played for about 6 months, and then the 8 of us hit it big with $30 million. For me, I was 27 years old, I was single. I couldn't retire off that much money because I would just spend it every day. So I decided to jump into the entrepreneurship pool and go with a little bit of a dream and open up a restaurant, even though I've never worked in one. So a lot of people thought it was a bad idea. The backstory behind that, though, was 2 days before I won the lottery. My friend David was driving me to the airport in St. John's to go back to Labrador. We were talking about what we wanted to do with our careers. He's in acting, I'm in business, and he asked me what my next steps were, and I said, I want to open my own business. But the thing about opening my own business is I don't have the capital to do that right now. I have an idea for a restaurant, don't know how to finance it because banks don't really finance it, especially independents. So I said to him, I was like, the only way I could open a restaurant right now is if I won the lottery or something. 2 days later, that happened, and David called me, and I forgot about that conversation entirely, and he tells me, say more things, man, because what you say happens. So I couldn't ignore that sign. I'm not a big signs guy in life, but I couldn't ignore that sign that was thrown at me in that way. So I decided I'd get some bad karma if I didn't try to at least open a restaurant, and here we are today. So this is Lacey.
Hi.
My general manager in Godsend.
Godsend.
She's very talented at her job. Probably assigning seats right now to reservations.
Yeah.
My friends come to town and they think they can just like show up to the restaurant.
What's the number or name?
Ryan Pelly.
He's already got a reservation for 2.
Okay, you know what? I knew he was gonna do that, so I put him in. But I put him at 6:30.
Okay, so he's changing to 8:30?
Yeah,
That's,
well,
that's amazing because I don't have a good table for him.
I just put it in there because I knew he was gonna do this to me, so.
That's funny.
And it's gonna be 3 people at 8:30.
Okay, perfect.
Hi, I'm Andrea Stack, Chair of the St. John's Board of Trade, your go-to place for business solutions. At the Board of Trade, we're interested in growing our economy, creating jobs for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, growing incomes and our communities. To learn more about immigration and the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Project, please visit gov.nl.ca/immigration.
This portion of Entrepreneur Nailed has been brought to you by Hickey's Timber Mart, Big Red Electric, and Dream Kitchens.
Hickey's Timber Mart for all your home construction and renovation projects, offering fast next-day delivery and Air Miles Reward Miles too. Hickey's Timber Mart, Harbor Main, CBS, and Torbay Road.
Hi, my name is Erin Littlejohn. I am the owner-operator of Boolis Morsels Dairy and Egg Free. My product is guaranteed dairy and egg free and became out of my own dairy allergy and egg sensitivity. I really wanted to get my product readily available to my customer base, and I really didn't know how to go about it. So I contacted the YMCA and met with Leslie. Instantaneously, I knew Leslie would be that changing pivotal point in my business. Since I met with her and through her guidance and support, I've managed to get 5 of my products at Coleman's on Newfoundland Drive with hopes to expand it to other locations. I really recommend this program to anyone with a business idea, a budding business, or a business now that you want to expand. It's been crucial and unmeasurable in my business.
So it was August 27th of 2016, and it was just a Saturday. He was going on, they were doing a Joanna's run, I believe, with the Heritage Riders. I'm not sure if that's the name of the run. They might have changed it for that year, last year. Either way, it was a big bike run down in the Burin Peninsula where they go all around, and Dad had events planned, like concerts and stuff planned all weekend. So he was running himself pretty ragged. And so everyone went out on Friday night and had a good time. And the next afternoon, Dad and my sister got up, normal day out in Burin, beautiful sunny day, perfect day for the ride, and they went on. And they went with him and I believe Cocker Dunn, one of our dispatchers over at Jiffy Cabs. He rides a bike. So he was down there for the weekend as well, and they both went out, and they were going to meet up with the run. So the run was going one way around the loop, and then he was going to go down the opposite way with Cocker and meet up with them. And on the way down, with my sister on the back, he just suffered a massive heart attack. Went off the road, didn't even hit the brakes, so there was no accident. He wasn't swerving to avoid anything. This is all, I wasn't there, so this is all stuff that I'm told. So he, swerved off, didn't swerve off the road, just guided the bike down off the shoulder of the road. people say in a way to protect my sister because she ended up